Hello to the camera and to the ether. What a lovely time to be streaming because I am tired. Oh, I forgot to take the stream title. I am tired, but nonetheless, uh, I feel like I've discovered something that it's almost like a revelation to me, in the sense that it's made everything seem so much easier, which is acknowledging the fact that any attempt made in reality to make something that was entirely in your head, that attempt, it's not going to look pretty. It's not going to be perfect. Oh my god, forget perfect. It's not even going to look average. It is going to look bad. If you go in with that expectation, or rather, if you go in with zero expectations and accept the possibility, sorry, accept rather that there's a high probability that it's not going to look as flamboyant as you think it does in your head. If you can do that, then you, my friend, have removed all of the fear that comes from trying anything new. Or rather, you have removed all of the fear from trying. Forget new. Because the moment you acknowledge that it's not going to look pretty, that it's not going to immediately look, you know, as it did in your head, then you're free. Because then you're not stuck entirely in your head where only you can see it. Then you can actually reproduce it in reality for others to enjoy as well. If the whole point of individualism was to simply, feed on to itself and completely be an individual to your own right, then you just the best option, the greatest, highest degree of individuation would come from monkhood. Just go off into the forest, speak to no one, do nothing, eat whatever you find, sleep, die. That's all. Because in your head, you've done everything that you want to do. But if you're someone who wants to participate in reality, then you've got to accept that reality as well. You've got to accept that whatever you try to bring from your head to onto reality is going to be, it's not going to look nice, man. Like this video for that example. In my head, I thought I would be able to articulate this perfectly. That I would be able to convince, and rather even forget convince, that I would be able to convey this idea better. But including this long pause, there were several instances where I'm struggling, where it's apparent that I don't understand the idea myself completely. But nonetheless, it has entered into reality where it can be shared with someone else. So the moment that it has actually entered into reality, then you've already done half your journey. Because you're no longer just thinking about it, you're no longer just conceptualizing it, you're no longer just ideating, you are acting. And I think that's something to strive for, to be a person of action. You can come up with 1 million ideas and say that you want to do everything, but as long as you don't act on any of it, none of those ideas matter. None of those ideas matter to anyone except for yourself. So if you want to be treated if you want to be treated for, if you want to be recognized for your ideas, then they cannot simply be ideas. They must enter into reality in some form. They must either be communicated, they must be acted upon. Cannot You cannot let ideas remain in your head and expect the world to recognize you for them. I'm not so sure why I wanted to get into that specific thing where where if ideas remain in your head, the world owes you nothing. Because I feel like, once again, I'm not so sure, but I feel like this comes from my own observation of, well, me, which is that I've always felt like, you know, I could do better, can do better, but I never have because there was no doing, there was just sitting and thinking. And I think that's an option we defer to far too much, where our idea of perfect has stopped us from actually bringing it onto reality. Perfect is the enemy of good. That I remember. I think that's the quote that I'd like to, you know, attach for the day. That the more and more your head is in the lofty clouds, the less your hands and actual work is being done to reach those peaks. Because if you're just floating away there, you're convinced that that's the best it is, and that's all it should be. You're no longer working towards making that reality. Like, I'll take the example of this video again because I'm not very satisfied with how it's turning out. But nonetheless, this is an idea that I want communicated, and I'm doing it. It's not pretty, it's not well articulated, it has several long pauses where it's almost like my mind is buffering. It's got repeated words and themes, but it's in real life, it's happening, it's actually getting conveyed. It's not just in my head. But yeah, it's not pretty either. So I think a key part that you gotta embrace is that you're going to look stupid. And that's fine. That's a precursor to becoming a master of anything. Is that we all start at some point where we look very funny doing something. And that's just it. We can either accept that and let the fear stop us from doing it, or we can say, you know what, I'm going to be on this earth for like oh, that cutoff was so cinematic, but I'm going to be on this earth for say 70 years, 80 or 85 years if I'm lucky, and off it I'm going to have some 65 odd healthy years or 70 odd healthy years. Hopefully I carry over health for the rest of my life, but for this entire span of my life, but nonetheless, would digress. But so yeah, I get, you can either let the fear stop you from trying something that you really want to try, even if you know, even if you think you're going to be bad, even if you know you're going to be bad, even if there are 1000 thoughts in your head that's justifying staying the way you are. You can remain in that fear and not do it, or you can say life is limited, time is limited, irrespective of what I do, nobody's going to remember me, and nobody's going to remember me in maybe 100 years, yeah, nobody's gonna remember me, except for my family. If I go outside and do something very stupid, very hilarious today, so they're gonna forget it by the end of the week. That's it. That that span of attention, that span of time which is given to your shame, you're allowing that shame to dictate all of the choices in your life. See, I'm not someone who's entirely convinced that there is, or your life, that there is an existence of free will. You're only as free as you think you are, and I think I'm a free human being. So, how can a free human being be dictated by such mere things as social pressure and fear? You've got to look into the void and embrace the fact that the void makes you a little weird. Then that's just the reality of it. That we all have our quirks that we were imbued with from the moment that we were born by the environment around us. Or rather, even before the moment that we were born, if you want to go into epigenetics and genetics. So, yeah. Have the courage to be weird. Get freaky with it. Yeah, damn cat with it. Get freaky with it. But yes, that's just about it. Acknowledge every day that it's not going to look as glorious as it does in your head. And that's perfectly fine. If it immediately looks glorious, then I think you should be setting your standards higher. It should not look as glorious as it does in your head, because that's the ideal to strive for. If your immediate attempt is the ideal, then I think you should set your ideal a little higher. Chase that never-ending peak. Be your own Sisyphus. Because in life, we have there is no purpose, which means you get to create your own purpose. And you get to be happy or sad about it. So you choose. You choose it entirely. I don't know why. I think it's popular culture that makes it so fashionable to be brooding and sad all the time. That there is some kind of mystery and to conflate intelligence with cynicism. I say, fuck it all. Be exactly the kind of weird you want to be. And the kind of weird that I am is the kind of weird that smiles like this for no good reason. So, embrace your weirdness. Be confident enough to project it onto the world. But once again, your weirdness can exist as long as it does not affect the well-being of others. Just reminding you that. It is not live on YouTube. I just realized that's my bad. But yes. I will upload this. Nonetheless, that's it for what was supposed to be a scripted Sunday, but it was somewhat scripted Sunday. I think I need to change the title to somewhat scripted Sunday. That would be more appropriate considering how ad hoc most of my thoughts are. But nonetheless, we're here, we're doing it. Anyways, good night to you, to the camera, to the ether, and Fez. Bye bye.